So you currently don't hold any office. Have you held a political office?
No, I don't. I don't hold office, and I haven't, and I'm proud of that. And I've always believed, Myla, in a learn, earn, and serve model. Go do something in the private sector, accomplish something, and then serve your country. And underline serve. I think one of the biggest issues we have in this country today, Myla, is that we've created a professional class of politicians. Mm-hmm. And Republicans were as guilty of that as Democrats. And that is not what our founding fathers envisioned. They wanted the people to go out and do something. I happen to be involved in business and in athletics, but you be an educator, be a pastor, be a farmer, be a warrior. And then at some point in time later in your career, go to Washington or go to St. Paul and serve. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
You're right. It was envisioned that they would be a farmer, for example. They would go to Washington, work on the laws, and then go back to being a farmer. And that's not what's been going on.
Absolutely, and I think that's why we have so much stalemate in Washington, and that people can't get along. They've been there forever. They're career politicians. All they think about, their primary objective, Myla, is to get reelected. Mm-hmm. And when that's your primary objective, you're not going to be serving the interests of the good people of Minnesota. I strongly believe that.
And it also dictates how they vote, how they talk, everything kind of. They're always worried about reelection. I think you're right on that. And certainly Senator Al Franken had not held office before. The public knew him from being on Saturday Night Live as a comedian.
Yeah, that's right. He was a comedian. I grew up watching him in high school. I'd like to send him back to his job as a comedian. And we have a legacy in this state of electing, at least at the U.S. Senate level, Myla, people that had not held office before. So Rudy Boschwitz would be a perfect example of that. Rudy's one of my heroes. He was a businessman. I think he was a fantastic senator during the Reagan administration.
So where do you think you're different than Al Franken, or what would be your primary focus if you were elected?
Well, I think one of the huge contrasts is on health care. The Unaffordable Care Act, as I like to call it. I don't want to give Obama all the credit.
You are a comedian.
You're the only one that will laugh at my jokes, Myla. But anyway, I don't want to give Franken all the or Obama all the credit for this. Franken's got to own it. He was the 60th vote for Obamacare and for the job-killing medical device tax. And Myla, in our great state, where we have the largest number of medical device countries in the world, that is really harmful. I'm out talking to Minnesotans, and they are very upset with Obamacare. 140,000 Minnesota families lost their coverage. That's not just a statistic. I'm out there talking to people. A young man the other night, he's 29, he has diabetes, lost his insurance, Myla. He had to go back on the exchange. It's going to cost him over 2 times more for his policy, and he doesn't have that money. I'm hearing that all the time. And then the thing that I think people are very, very upset is that the president and Franken misled them. When they said you can keep your policy if you want it, that's not the truth. That's not what's happened. People are losing their policies. And now what's coming out is that people are losing their doctors, so they're not able to keep their doctors. And then, the third promise was that it was going to be less expensive. And what we're finding out is it's not less expensive. But I just real quickly here on healthcare, we have an issue. A healthcare issue in our country. I've run a business for 20 years. It's the fastest growing expense that I have in my business. So as Republicans, we need to come forth with solutions, and I promise you that I will, but mine will be market-based and state-based. It'll be focused here in this great state of Minnesota, and I will make sure that people with pre-existing conditions can get access to reasonable health care.
I think we all can agree there's been some problems with health care, but I'm not sure this much of a change or this big of a shakeup is the answer. And it is causing a lot of confusion out there, especially with websites that didn't work. and misleading information, and then you have a security issue, and there's just a lot of things going on all at once.
Well, Myla, I think it just puts a spotlight on what happens when the federal government gets involved in things that they shouldn't. The federal government taking over 1/6 of our economy is a very, very bad idea. And we're seeing that unfold here before our very eyes. And that's a big contrast between myself and Mr. Franken. Senator Franken will look to the federal government to solve almost everything. I'll look to the great people in the state of Minnesota to solve our problems. I think the states are laboratories for experiment. Let us do it here. And on healthcare, Myla, think about it. We have the best healthcare in the world in Minnesota. The best healthcare minds between the Mayo Clinic and the university system, the largest medical device industry in the world, and then last, we have the largest healthcare service business in the world in United Health Group. So let us solve it here, and then as your U.S. Senator, I'll scream about it so that other states can adopt it if they so wish. But don't dictate to us from Washington in some bureaucratic fashion, in an inefficient, ineffective fashion, that this is how you have to do it. So that is a big contrast between myself and Mr. Frank.